Welcome to the Life After Sugar podcast, the podcast that's not just about sugar, but about your relationship with it and also with food and especially with yourself. So if you want to discover your life after sugar and hear inspiring stories from all kinds of people who also cut out sugar in their way, at their pace, for their own reasons, this is the podcast for you. Because when you take away the sugar, you can finally discover the real sweetness in your life. I'm your host, Netta Gorman. And in this week's episode, I'm answering the question, what does living sugar-free feel like? You may imagine all kinds of scenarios, as much about the food you eat or you don't eat as what you do, how you feel, and how you think. Well, I could tell you till the cows come home how wonderful life is when we feel free from sugar and cravings, but I actually think that the participants in the Freedom from Cravings Formula program say it even better. And in today's episode, you'll get program participant Noreen's insights in how living sugar-free feels for her. In fact, I asked Noreen for permission to share a little bit of what we talked about recently in a check-in call. We'll get to that in just a minute. But first, I just wanted to tell you that if you're looking for some free resources, then I have plenty for you. First, download my 5 tips to get rid of cravings. And those 5 tips may not be what you think they are. So go to aftersugarclub.com and download your 5 tips today. Come check out the Life After Sugar Facebook page and subscribe to the Life After Sugar YouTube channel, as well as my Instagram account at MyLifeAfterSugar, which is where you'll get all kinds of inspiration so that you can see that it's perfectly possible to live a happy and active life, even if you don't eat sugar. You can also check out my TikTok account at Netta_LifeAfterSugar. All right, so with permission, here's a short excerpt from one of our check-in calls where Noreen describes what living sugar-free feels like for her.
I just feel like I'm trusting myself. I'm learning what works for me. I'm just doing my thing and I'm relaxing about it. Whereas it used to be, I was anxious about it. I needed to be the perfectionist. And now I know that I've got my little 90% rule and, I'm not worried about if there's some sugar and ketchup and if I don't want it, I mean, a lot, I don't make yogurt anymore. So I got some full fat plain yogurt. And I love it, so I was like, wow, there was a time where you wouldn't even be able to let me put that in my mouth. I wouldn't even, if it didn't have strawberry or, something else. And I eat it plain. I don't put anything in with it. So it's like
amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. It really is. Yeah.
Yeah. And pretty much everyone I speak to, whether they're in the program or not, says, like when I mentioned plain yogurt, they get this look.
I know. And I only found the baby. My grandson likes my kefir. And he's the only one that ever he eats it without plain too. And he just, and then puts his mouth for more. And I'm like, I got somebody who likes it in my family. Yay. So it just goes to show that before they get taught other things, their natural flavoring is okay. Because he likes, bananas and strawberries and all that kind of stuff. But he likes the kefir too.
Yay. So. Yeah, that's fantastic. And, very often the argument is that because breast milk is sweet, that we're all wired to love sweet tastes. And my response to that is yes, but I think we're all weaned by now.
Yeah.
And not everyone was breastfed, but although formula, I think.
Oh, I'm sure it's sweet. Yeah.
Yeah, I think some of it, they put high fructose corn syrup in it, but don't get me started on what they not. I've got nothing against formula feeding. It's not the action that I have a bone to pick with. It's the ingredients they put in
Right.
the formula.
Right.
It's
Right.
crazy. Anyway, nice to hear that somebody somewhere likes plain kefir. Because that whole approach of what can I eat that nourishes me, that takes care of me, is, I think for all of you here, is an approach that you may not have had just a few months ago or a year.
Yeah, because I think I would in the past, even unconsciously, I wouldn't even think about it consciously, but like, oh, I'm stressed. And thinking maybe eating, okay, I'm gonna go get, some dark chocolate, like that's taking care of me and I forget which exercise it was where that in this program that it became really clear, like, oh, I'm taking care of myself. I'm making, healthy choices.
Yeah, yeah. That is, I think, one of the most valuable things that you can take away from this whole journey is that shift of how you see taking care of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Well, I just want to congratulate all of you for sticking around, not just in this program, but just in like how you continue to go forward on this journey, because it's tempting. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's tempting to say, screw it, because this happened and that happened. And you can see like things happen in your own lives and also, on a macro level. And I just want to congratulate you for carrying this caretaking, this self-care with you, really. And it will follow you and you can carry it inside of you through all sorts of ups and downs.
Well, I don't think I want to take any credit or congratulations. If it was up to me and if I could get away with it, I'd say screw everything, and just, carry on the way I have in my life. But, thank God, I suppose my body will not do it. And it's a misery that I guess I should be thankful for,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And it's so obvious. It's so obvious the quality of life when I take care of myself, not only with the clean food, but also with the other things that I'm learning about how to take care of myself in a situation that isn't always easy, but the blessings. I guess I'm not hard to, I just got a candle warmer and it's making the whole house smell so wonderful. And I come into the house and I'm just like, so, and it's like, so I'm thankful that, there are easy ways to feel blessed. But, the food, I wish that it wasn't that way, but I suppose I'm glad that it is, because I wouldn't do it if it was just theory.
Mm.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
So I can't take much credit at, somehow, maybe a body that's getting older. I look at it and say, when I was younger, I tolerated it maybe because my insulin levels were down and they built it up and I'm not able to handle it. And then having gotten clean, I notice it too much. It's just misery. So why do I want that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's never too late to start looking after yourself. And I don't just mean looking after yourself in sort of the more traditional sense of the word, but to actually, as you were saying before, to look at what looking after yourself is.
Yeah.
I think you do deserve congratulations, but take it or leave it. I'm sending them to you. It's up to you if you want to catch them. I want to take a quick break to say that if this is your first time here, then welcome and thank you for listening to this podcast. And whether you're new or a regular and you haven't yet rated or reviewed this podcast, could I ask you to scroll down and tap on the stars to rate this podcast and also to write a short review to let me know how this podcast is helping you in your life after sugar. I love reading your reviews. And when you rate and review this podcast, not only does it encourage me to continue making new episodes, but it also helps to share this podcast and have more people see it so that we can help more people feel better and lose weight with less sugar. So again, thank you for rating and reviewing this podcast and for spreading the word about sugar.
I feel like so much was external to me for such a long time. I needed to do the right thing, even for my body, but it wasn't really for me. It was to be a good girl, And I just, I'm just realized now that, that's not my purpose anymore. And yeah, sure, my purpose is I've got a grandson and I want to be healthy for him, and I want to have the energy for him, and I want to have that positive attitude for him. And so I want that for our relationship, but I also just want it because it feels great, to feel good.
Yeah. Yeah. And you were saying about like more the out there, or the theory and the actual experiencing it. I feel that it's actually easier to do it and to experience it than to, many of us have read lots and lots of books about the theory of less sugar, or, more sugar, less sugar, whichever, and it's like it feels, while it's still out there, the idea of it can feel way more threatening than the actual experience of it.
Right.
Is that what you found as well, Noreen?
Well, yeah, I just feel like, it was all external. I'm always, trying to do what's right for me, but it's all the right is out here. But then when all of a sudden I experience the rightness within my own body, that's just a horse of another color. It's just like, that's real blessing. And it's a blessing. Like, I don't have to worry about, all those things that we did when I was doing the, your program. How do you approach people? How do you approach social situations? It's like, I don't care anymore. I'm actually probably gentler. I just say, yeah, I like that, but it doesn't really like me so much. And and I don't worry about whether or not they have a hard time. I don't care. It's like it's a kind of a new world for me. Not trying to, I don't know, be the good girl. That's what I was always trying to be the good girl. So
yeah. And the irony is you feel like a good girl.
I don't even care anymore. I just, yeah.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
it's not like you don't care about other people, because I would argue that you care more for yourself, so the level of care is up there. But yeah, you're not answering to those external expectations, or
Right.
your
My perception of it. Yeah. My perception of the external. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Which at the end of the day probably comes across as caring more, because because you're not on the defensive, like
Right.
in social situations.
Right.
You feel more comfortable with your choices. Is that right?
Oh, absolutely. I feel totally comfortable with them. I don't feel like I have to really answer to anyone. No,
Yeah.
except myself.
Yeah. Yeah. And so the not caring, I would sort of reframe as, just feeling more confident.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fantastic. Great to hear it. And it's this level of awareness that I'm hoping to get you to. It looks like you're there now. So that you're not constantly dependent on me or some program or whatever that you've got those tools to be independent.
Well, it's interesting. When I worked inpatient, people would come in their 90s and they're supposed to be on a cardiac diet. They're supposed to be on a diabetic diet, etc. And I would go into them and I'd say, "How do you eat at home?" And I just felt like by the time you get to 95, you get to do whatever you want. And I'm not going to tell you that when you're in the hospital sick, that we're going to give you cardboard to eat, because, if you have enough of those things, that's what you end up being able to eat. So theoretically, going from that, if I extrapolated that for myself, I might say that, but I'm hoping that by the time I'm in my 80s and 90s, I'm going to own it I think I already do own it so much that I cannot imagine that when I get to be 90, I'm going to say, well, I'm 90 now, so what the hell? Because I want to say, what the hell? I want to kick my heels up. I want to dance. I want to have fun. So if I was into okay, food is the only thing left in my life, then maybe I would say okay to that. But I'm hoping that won't. My life won't be that sorry. That's the only thing that is central to it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that the thing that it presupposes when we say, well, I'm this age, I can eat whatever I like, is that it presupposes that whatever I like is necessarily sugar and junk food. And that whenever we're not eating those things, it's because we're not eating whatever we want or whatever we like. And that what we really want to eat is all that stuff. And it's almost like it's impossible for someone to actually want to eat food rather than junk.
Yeah.
Well, for much of this year, I really, and I don't know if I'm doing it right, but I've just decided I'm the one that's going to figure it out. But for a long time, maybe 3-4 years. So, I need to eat so many fruits and vegetables. I need to have, 30 different kinds. And then when I kind of let go of that, it's just really, and I can't tell you how much, even though I kind of do enjoy it, my choices of food are not about me. It's about what I'm supposed to be having. And now I'm trying to think, what do I want to have? And it's, maybe I have 3 vegetables or fruits in a whole day. And maybe I just want to have protein. And I am just really trying to listen to that because I don't know if it's making a difference in my health. I have to wait over time. But I do know that it's making a difference in my day. So.
That's powerful. Yeah. Yeah, that's well said. Wow. Fantastic. Well, now you have like an insider's view of what it feels like to live sugar-free. Because very often, as we're looking at this from the outside, it feels so overwhelming and even scary to imagine not eating sugar anymore. At least it did for me. And actually, it did for Noreen as well. It wasn't a smooth and easy journey for her, but she didn't give up, and she does deserve a huge round of applause for doing the 12-week program, the Freedom from Cravings Formula program, despite her reservations, despite her perfectionism, and very often despite feeling overwhelmed. But you heard just how zen and peaceful Noreen feels now. And one of the things that made a huge difference for Noreen and for the other program participants is having the support of other like-minded participants and having the accountability in our weekly calls. And those 2 things, along with my guidance through the 5 steps of the program, give the result that you heard today from Noreen. So if you want to feel free from cravings and in control around sugar, then here's how to do it. First, go to the description along with this episode and click on the link to book a clarity call with me. Or just go to aftersugarclub.com and click on the big green button, Book a Clarity Call. That's the first step, because then we'll get to talk together to see how the Freedom from Cravings Formula program can help you. The Freedom from Cravings Formula program is specifically designed by me, with my 10 years of experience living sugar-free, to help you get rid of cravings so that you can slim down and finally feel in control around food, especially sugar. In the program, you'll get step-by-step guidance and customized support through the 5-step formula that I've developed to help you get control over cravings so that you can finally live your life with more energy and fit into your favorite clothes effortlessly and feel confident in your food choices so that you can ditch the shame and embarrassment that you feel every time your emotions make you slip or fall off the wagon, and so that you never feel like you're on some kind of a restrictive diet. If you're at the stage of your life where you're finally ready to look after yourself, let's chat. You can hop on a free clarity call with me at any time by going to aftersugarclub.com and clicking on the big green button, Book a Clarity Call. We'll have a quick 30-minute one-on-one chat where you'll be able to tell me more about your challenges and goals, and we'll be able to see how the Freedom from Cravings Formula program can help you. So go to aftersugarclub.com. Speak soon. That's it for this week. Keep in touch and see you soon for another episode.